in the streets. A battered Cairo counts its dead. Rising anger.
It is a deliberate political act of industrial vandalism.
A black day for British miners. And later, diamond fever. Why our Northland is the latest place to stake a claim.
CTV News with Lloyd Robertson.
Good evening. The death toll from Egypt's worst earthquake on record is climbing. More than 400 bodies have been pulled from the rubble of yesterday's quake. Rescue workers expect the toll to go even higher. About 3,000 people were injured in the tremor that measured 5.9 on the Richter scale. It wasn't a major earthquake, but many of Cairo's buildings are so poorly constructed that they collapse even when the earth doesn't shake. CTV's Dana Lewis reports on Cairo's grief.
Digging out. Families had waited all night for daylight to come. An agonizing vigil by a mountain of rubble left after a 14-story apartment building collapsed in downtown Cairo. While one woman was found alive here, most of what rescue workers discovered beneath steel and rock were the dead. As the bodies were slowly taken away, others now forced to live in the streets talked of desperation. Our children are naked in the streets, she says. We have nothing left. The earthquake struck in mid-afternoon, covering the city in a cloud of dust, shaking thousands of buildings. Many of the dead were children killed when they panicked and stampeded out of a local school. Hundreds of injured quickly filled city hospitals as appeals went out for more blood. As more bodies were found in the rubble, this foreign rescue worker was critical of how long it took to mobilize the rescue effort.
We got a lot of earthquakes like Turkey this year, Erzincan, Armenia, USSR, and there was the help from the people. All the people around are digging with their own hands and don't wait for big equipment. They're digging all with your hands. And
Not here.
Not here.
Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak cut short a state visit to China to return home to tour the damaged areas. But while buildings a half-century old crumbled to the ground, Egypt's oldest structures, the ancient pyramids and Sphinx, stood tall, untouched by the earthquake. It could be days now before all of the dead are pulled from the crumbled buildings in Cairo. Already Egyptian officials admit many of these buildings should have been condemned long ago. Some were old, many were just poorly constructed to begin with. Dana Lewis, CTV News, Cairo.
The coal mines that helped make Britain an industrial powerhouse are now on the verge of decimation. Britain's state-run coal company has announced massive layoffs and mine closings. The job cuts by British Coal are one more nail in the coffin of the once mighty industry. CTV's Helena St. James reports.
In one devastating blow, more than half of the miners in the British coal industry will be unemployed. 30,000 jobs will be lost in the next 5 months, some as early as this week as 31 pits close. The miners' union said there was no economic basis for these closures.
It is a deliberate political act of industrial vandalism perpetrated against an already decimated industrial landscape.
But the British coal industry said they had no choice.
I regard the whole situation as a very sad, very damaging, very distressing one. But I'm afraid there is absolutely no alternative. It is forced on us by the market. Maybe an unfair market, an uneven playing field, but it is forced on us by the market.
Clark blamed a reduced demand for coal. Electricity-generating companies, once big buyers of British coal, have switched to gas or imported cheaper coal to produce electricity. And to complicate matters, there are large stockpiles of coal. Mining communities were stunned by the announcement of the massive closures.
There ain't nothing for nobody, will there?
Well, there's quite a few what's been expecting it, like, you know, but you expect a thing, but you don't think it's going to happen, do you?
There's no jobs around here for anybody else, but Pitts, is there? It's disgusting.
Union leaders say it won't just be the miners and their families who will suffer.
17 coal-fired power stations will close down. Railwaymen will lose their jobs. People in mining supply companies will lose their jobs. You're talking about 90,000 jobs in the British economy in the deepest recession since the 30s.
The union has called for a general strike to protest the cuts, but it is unlikely to happen. British coal managers have threatened to withdraw the miners' redundancy money if they do strike. Helena St. James, CTV News, London.
On this side of the world, the spotlight in the U.S. presidential campaign was focused tonight on the three men who want to be vice president. They met in a televised debate to argue for the job that has been described as being a heartbeat away from the presidency. There were some angry accusations and some moments of comic relief during the debate. CTV's Jim O'Connell has more on the battle of words.
You've talked about Jim Baker.
Trying to shed his image as a political joke, Dan Quayle went on the attack from the start, igniting a nasty barrage of shouting matches with his Democratic opponent, Al Gore.
I want to go back and make a point.
Well, you've asked me a question. If you want to answer my question, I will answer yours.
I made a statement.
And I think America is seeing right now the reason this nation is in gridlock.
Disgusted with all the rhetoric was James Stockdale, the former war hero who's running with Ross Perot.
I feel like I'm an observer at a ping pong game.
Over and over, the vice president attacked Bill Clinton as a liar who couldn't be trusted.
Bill Clinton has trouble telling the truth. Talk about waffling around. Do you trust Bill Clinton to be your president?
At times, the debate deteriorated into what resembled a schoolyard brawl.
Well, let's talk about.
Well,
let's talk about.
Let him talk, Senator.
Just lighten up here, Al.
Did you require
lighten up, Al? My turn.
It's a free discussion.
Take a breath, Al. Inhale.
It's a free discussion.
Quayle was relentless in his accusations, saying Gore was being as dishonest as his running mate.
You know what you're doing? You know what you're doing? You're pulling a Clinton. You know, Hal, I wanted to bring the Gore book tonight because I figured he was going to pull a Bill Clinton on me, and he has.
On the subject of honesty, Gore had his own ammunition.
George Bush, in case you've forgotten, Dan, said, "Read my lips." No new tactics. Read my lips. And you know what?
I didn't think I was going to hear that tonight.
Hold on, let me finish. Okay. Do you support a woman's right to choose?
Do you support a 24-hour waiting period to have reflection?
You're still avoiding
the question. You limit the terms of the president, but that's another subject.
We're fixing to limit one.
Yeah.
We're going to.
The vice presidency has been called one of the dullest jobs in American politics, and this so-called debate did nothing to restore dignity to the office. But American voters had good reason to pay attention to this debate. Because of the past 10 vice presidents, 5 eventually made it to the White House. Jim O'Connell, CTV News, Atlanta.
Toronto author Michael Ondaatje has become the first Canadian to win Britain's most prestigious literary prize. He shared the award known as the Booker Prize with British author Barry Unsworth. Ondaatje was honored for his novel The English Patient. The author is seen here at a publishing party last month. He was born in Sri Lanka, educated in England, and came to Canada at the age of 18. Ondaatje teaches at York University in Toronto. Still to come in tonight's news, Quebec's great debate. Did it make a difference?
I don't think so. I don't think it did Bourassa any harm.
Je pense que c'est à peu près égal.
Viewers have their say.
Do you know how Zellers can offer your favorite brands at lower than ever low prices? Simple. We put our name on it. Zellers Days. Your chance to save on our most popular brand names.
Save 30% on selected outerwear for the whole family. 2-slice toaster, can opener, or electric kettle, your choice, only $9.97 each.
And only one store gives you free, valuable Club Z points. We put our name on it.
Zellers Days, where the lowest price is the law.
It took an incredible stretch of the imagination to create a car with a 125 horsepower engine that sips fuel at the rate of 5 tablespoons per kilometer. But to truly appreciate the new Civic sedan, all it takes is a remarkable stretch of road.
All day long today, the critics dissected yesterday's televised tangle between Quebec Premier Robert Bourassa and his Parti Quebecois rival, Jacques Parizeau. The popular view on their unity debate, no lethal blows, no embarrassing mistakes, and, as might be expected, no clear-cut winner. Alan Pryor reports.
The morning after the great debate and the obvious questions: who won, who lost, what impact will it have on the outcome? The consensus seems to be no one and not much.
Was there a winner? I don't think so. I don't think it did Bourassa any harm.
They were about equal, says this woman. It changed nothing for me. And the Quebec media, a draw, proclaims La Presse. And Le Soleil, no knockout. Agreed, says the Gazette, and added that Parizeau won by not losing.
Premier of Manitoba.
In fact, the only one claiming decisive victory for the yes side was the Prime Minister.
Bravo, Mr. Bourassa. Congratulations on your tremendous victory in the debate last night. And we are now, in Quebec, because of that, on our way to a victory for the yes side in the referendum.
I think Mr. Mulroney should pipe down a bit. Should recognize that, in a sense, he's getting to be a pain in the